Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Dane. And today I have for you a 1 vs 1 on wrecked trains. Yes, indeed, we shall be seeing wrecked trains once more, and wrecked trains forevermore. No, not that. No. Going to be possibly an interesting fight with some things to learn here, some slightly different gameplay, I'd say. So, in fact, we'll be seeing Ipokeunow as the British. Hang on there. And we've already seen Ipokeunow playing. He's a certainly competent, if not good, British player. Opposing him shall be Huitewillcomeforyou. Huitewillcomeforyou, fighting for the Wehrmacht, fighting for the 12th SS Hitlerjugend, and Ipokeunow for the 7th Armoured Desert Rats. In fact, let's get right down to it. Let's see what these two mysterious and enigmatic people will be up to. And the Wehrmacht quarters up for Huitewillcomeforyou, so definitely not a pioneer spammy strat, although he might be going for 3 at the very least. That's certainly not off. Certainly go for 3 pioneers myself. And what does Ipokeunow go for? Well, he's sitting out with his reconnaissance section and of course going for that lieutenant. And we're in fact seeing a 3 pioneer start and Wehrmacht quarters up. Question is of course what will come after that for Huitewillcomeforyou, or is it Huit? Huit or Huit? I'm not entirely sure how he wants that pronounced. That can be a bit difficult. There we go, Lieutenant on the way. Headquarters command truck, interestingly enough, not packing up as of yet. Quite interesting. And ignoring this munitions point, instead heading for a more central one, apparently. Different start from the British, to say the least. In that sense. Granted, I don't know much about British starts on this map, so of course I might be wrong. Bike on the way here. First unit out from the Wehrmacht quarters. Pioneers continuing a nice spread, taking as much territory as possible. And already hold more than the British. And there we go, truck packed up, infantry section out, although again without the supervision of the lieutenant. They're going to be a bit slow, and Lieutenant Roberts is all the way over there. The context and bike clash in a dramatic fight. Bike though fires back, pioneers under fire as the reconnaissance section marches upwards. Bike though quickly tries to sort of push them out of the way, save the pioneers, allow them to secure the munitions for the fatherland. Infantry section up there just seems to be continuing without pause, albeit very slowly. And almost half of the map is currently in Wehrmacht position. Looks like a full scanner team out for Huitewillcomeforyou. British troops running into quite a bit of MG fire from that bike. Pioneers are forced away. Full scanners just standing about. Come on, men. Mach schon, mach schon. Vorwärts. Come on. Apparently not. Although more units are on the way from the Wehrmacht quarters. In the meanwhile, in the east, things continue pretty much undisturbed. British territorial seizures have been a bit slow. Wehrmacht on the move. Again, reconnaissance section moving over towards the western fuel. And again, note the western part has less resources. But it is easier to hold due to a more larger presence of buildings, whereas it's rather the opposite in the east. Pioneers pushed away. Full scanners continue on their own. Or do they? Looking pretty slow there. And an MG42 out for Huitewillcomeforyou. Munitions point taken right there. And a Brenker coming out soon quite as well. I mean, there's also another problem with this. I mean, while does give him a rather advanced position, it also took him quite some time to get the truck from point A to point B, which has certainly hurt his fuel and munitions income on the particular fuel, which of course will also ensure that the Wehrmacht player could be getting an advantage in that sense. Looks like another infantry section on the way though for Ipokeunow. Ipokeunow deciding to poke with a bit of rifle fire. Force gun is pushing up towards the center. MG42 following in its wake. Vickers, on the way for the Brenker. And Pioneers under heavy fire, looking less great, looking less spectacular right there. MG42 going up. Brenker pushes onwards. Looks like these Volksgrenadiers are caught on the wrong side of things though. On the very wrong side of things. And looks like this bike, oh dear, goes down as well. Huitewillcomeforyou suffering a few losses right there. And another engagement right there. But the Brenker was in fact also captured in quite large numbers for the Wehrmacht by the time of Dunkirk, plus they captured quite a few, I mentioned, during North Africa when Rommel was kicking ass. Taking names, but there we go. Further fighting right here by the rails, by the wrecked cars. Volksgrenadiers trying to flank, although at the same time they do manage to expose themselves quite a bit. And of course now the Brenker might arrive from the north and flank them right nastily there. Flamethrower pioneers joining in now, forcing away the infantry section, although another continues from the east. Field support truck moving in, Volksgrenadiers taking losses. And we are seeing more Volksgrenadiers coming out. We're seeing in fact a free Volksgrenadier start for Huitewillcomeforyou and an MG42. That certainly belongs to the rarer cases, I believe. But certainly could prove to be interesting if handled properly. Flamethrower pioneers and Volksgrenadiers retreating while others are moving out. MG42 providing a nice base of fire, and there we go. Infantry section running straight into that, and field support truck has arrived for the King George. Brenker sneaking about. Germans had a few ideas with it. They tried, for example, mounting Panzer tracks on it, made a Panzerjäger out of it, and there were also some Canadian variants of it, including one they call the Wasp, which was basically a Bren carrier with a flamethrower. Could have been funny if they added that to the game. And a Panzerfaust right there, so we at least know there's a skirmish phase, but so far not much of that. And looks like the British are pushing up hard on the west. Further engagements right here as Volksgrenadiers are trying to secure munitions at the same time at the cost of territory right there. Bren gunners now ready for the British, although getting quickly suppressed by the MG42. And an attempt at flanking the MG42 infantry section. Reconnaissance section might be wanting to move in as that's a more maneuverable element. Volksgrenadiers quickly moving in. Lieutenant dead. Went down to some pioneers and Volksgrenadiers. Oh, the inhumanity. And the MG42 in a bit of trouble. Could be going down if it gets sniped or anything like that. But looks like there's no munition for that. And looks like the British troops do manage to move away, meaning they can't actually accurately hit it. Volksgrenadiers and pioneers still holding the line. Although I'm not entirely sure what the pioneers are doing. They're just standing about, watching their comrades die with a... I'm not entirely sure what grin on their face. Sure enough, we do have access, but apparently he's taking up further. Huitewillcomeforyou might be going for a Sturmarmy, or could he be so utterly audacious, ballsy, and go straight for the 4th tier, the Panzer Command? That would certainly be a rarer sight, at least for me, when it comes to dealing with the British. Munitions point being secured right there. We've been doing some quite alright fighting with those numerous pioneers, the Volksgrenadiers and the MG42, keeping up the pressure, killing some Brits. Although that should essentially always be part of any strategy against the British. Kill some Brits. Casualty clean station up for Ipokeunow as well. That's good. And of course close to the front line. So of course you can also pick up some wounded. That could certainly be to his advantage. And a Goliath for Huitewillcomeforyou. Quite interesting, quite interesting. Don't see those much used against the British either. But again, 3 Volksgrenadiers and MG42. Not what I usually see arranged against the British. There we go. A counter assault by the troops of the 12th SS. Hitlerjugend, for which most of its forces were pretty much drawn from the Hitlerjugend organization, though they weren't actually kids as some would like to believe. Although later on, of course, there might have been some younger members. Heavy damage to the Brenker. Goliath charges in. Will it be fast enough? Sappers there. And what happens? What happens? Oh dear. Didn't manage to do much there. Quite sad, I suppose, for Huit. The Wehrmacht does not give up. Volksgrenadiers storming forwards. MG42 moving up as well. And there we go. Volksgrenadiers running across negative cover again, which you should try to avoid. right into a lot of fire, including that Bren carrier. And I mean, an upgraded Bren carrier with the Vickers can really do a lot of damage. Be careful about those, plus they can suppress. So in those cases, you want to be careful. You will want to use your cover judiciously. Still no structures up besides that Wehrmacht quarters for Huitewillcomeforyou. That's again pretty odd. We'll of course have to see what happens. And the Bedford command truck reporting that Jerry is firing at us. Absolutely astounding ability of deduction right there, Mr. Headquarters command truck. Going for the cut-off point, trying to deny some fuel to the British. Brenker moving in. Could have been nice with the mortar emplacement right here, or something else, or a Stuart light tank. Something in general, but apparently Ipokeunow doesn't quite have the resources for that. Bren though flanks, and another Bren team actually also flanks, and results in a lot of full screen going down. The Vickers being a rather old World War I era machine gun, water cooled. There were a few of those in the war actually, of such old quality. The Soviets used an even older one, the Maxim machine gun, which was also British actually. I believe they also had some of their own, but the Maxim was actually rather what they used for a larger time. And looks like we're seeing a Panzer command going up for Huitewillcomeforyou. Fairground, he'll go for full Grenadiers and Pioneers and some MG42s, and then he'll go straight for Panzers and catch that damn Tommy with his pants down. And he might actually just succeed at that. We are seeing Commando Doctrine being chosen right here, but this is really going to be a nasty surprise for Ipokeunow. He probably had not expected to be poked back at with a Panther or Ostwind, whatever might come out. Volksgun is charging the run into the heavy machine gun fire of the Brenker, and already there Volksgun is taking quite a bit of damage. Infantry section joining in as well, firing from the sort of industrial area. Bren carrier finally down, sappers joining in, and sappers are probably one of the few constructor units which actually are quite good in fight. I mean, they do as much damage as a regular infantry section, albeit they only have 4 men of course. And this recon section needs to get out of this. The guys are punishing on. They might want to consider getting on with the other side of the cover themselves. Huitewillcomeforyou doing alright, and there we go. Too quickly dropped by the Bren guns. The Bren gun being a quite nasty weapon, quite nasty LMG. Better than the LMG 42, I might argue. Well, then again, the LMG 42 can have its uses if you can actually get enough on them. I suppose that might be because there's also something called scatter, which I'm not entirely sure how it actually works. But it does mean that bullets who might not have hit their original target can hit something else, but again, I'm a bit unsure of that. Oh dear, the Ostwind has arrived. Flak Panzer blasting through the British. And mind you, the Ostwind rather only came about late 1944, early 1945. Before that, there was been the Wirbelwind, or it would have been the Möbelwagen, or some other Flak Panzer, though the primary anti-aircraft armor was actually a half-track. 17-pounder gun though going up. About damn time. Ipokeunow pretty unprepared in terms of anti-tank assets. He really should have gotten something earlier. He's definitely getting punished for it now. But a might as the Ostwind Flak Panzer clearing the skies, except of course the British don't actually get such air support. That looked rather dramatic, except of course I can't really see anything. Volksgunners are pushing on, and it's quite interesting to see so many Volksgunners get the British. I mean, they're not bad, obviously, and they're not stormtroopers either. And the 17-pounder gun saves the day, forcing away the German armor. And the 17-pounder gun was one of the best anti-tank guns of the war, although as you might have noticed, it was also pretty damn big, and thus it couldn't really just be pushed around by infantry for it to work, really. To sort of be mobile, you would have to have vehicles be able to tow that, and trouble is, the Essence engine can't really handle that. Volksgunners are holding the line against the British onslaught. Piats now joining in as well. No rifle grenades though, by the looks of things. And the Volksgunners might want to consider retreating. It looks like a Kriegberg's up for Huitewillcomeforyou, getting a Pack 38. looks like a Brand section on its own, quite far away from the rest of the force, not entirely sure what they're up to. Probably Duffy who led them astray, reading the map incorrectly. But more peers up, and it rather looks a bit unfortunate, in fact, that Ipokeunow has decided to blob. Quite unfortunate. Generally do not suggest or advise blobbing. And it could easily end up wrongly for him. Ostwind keeps firing. Sappers and whatnot running into heavy MG42 fire and the Ostwind. And as you might have noticed, that did not go well for him. He also has gone for 2 lieutenants to sort of, give further bonuses. Which again is rather what blobbers do. Thankfully though, with the latest patch, they did sort of limit the ability of those lieutenants to sort of work in a blob. Although when they get veterancy, the veterancy bonuses sort of stack better. Ostwind on its own, catching one reconnaissance section, which I imagine had not imagined to get hit by the Ostwind. Recce on the run. Looks like a Stu 42 out. Pack at the front. No attempt at salvaging this Bren care of munitions though. Come on, Huit. Come on. You're a big boy now. And this Bren gun section is getting hit by the Ostwind with 10 kills so far. Looks like the blob is on the hunt with a Bren section to try and sort of button it down. Piered rounds hitting the rear armor. This is not good. Stu 42 could be called in to assist. Of course, Volkswagen is also moving in. Or are they? Are they? Come on, Volkswagen, here, support your armor. And this Bren section is taking heavy losses. Again, a full retreat. Pioneers moving up here, supported by the MG42. And some Volkswagen is caught on their own behind an old crane by the ominous Pitlevsky building. Rather looks like Ipokeunow has lost all courage. And the Stu 42 is ready to support the Volksgrenadiers with its minus 105mm howitzer. Who's building something? Apparently no one. Reconnaissance though driven off by the might of the Sturmhaubitze. A bit quiet. And there we go, action again, but again 17 pounder, quite powerful. The British did as much as possible to mount it on as many tanks as possible. There was the Firefly, there was the A30 Challenger, there was the Achilles, which was actually a Wolverine with a 17 pounder. I believe they also made something called the Archer, which was a sort of thing that was a bit odd in that it sort of had to reverse, sort of present its gun. A bit hard to explain. Later on, the British basically decided to make a sort of different gun, basically those similar to the 17 pounder, and they mounted on something called the Comet. Oh dear, motorcycle lost. Mine though goes off. MG team not looking good. Looks like a half track ready. Stu 42, and we are seeing a heroic charge right there. Stu 42 fires. And yeah, one might have suggested he follows him, but of course that 17 pounder makes that a bit of a problem. He cannot capitalize on his success right there against that huge blob of British troops. Again, I'm a bit disappointed in Ipokeunow. And looks like an armored command truck has finally arrived for Ipokeunow. Volkswagen is fighting here in the east, although they might get overwhelmed. In particular since they have no cover. Wigsug, Menner! Oh dear, Volkswagen team got torn to bits, and the Bren guns are really absurdly good at, well, ridiculously, or well, eye-poppingly good, and basically tearing through infantry teams retreating. I mean, it's quite extraordinary, so I really have to be careful when retreating. Now these Volkswagens need to get out of there. Wigsug. Just notice how quickly they go down as the Bren guns fire. Stu 42 moving in. Ostwind also rhyming. Oh dear, huge blob again. No, the Stu 42 failed to fire. No. No. Kampfkraft center, and there we go. 5 men down. That's quite a few British lives who laid down their lives for the regiment. Looks like a Panther is on the way for the Hitlerjugend. The Hitlerjugend being one of the better equipped SS divisions in Normandy. The 9th and 10th not quite as fortunate, although that also had something to do with the fact they'd just been sent over to the Eastern Front, and in fact had come back from it in an attempt to try and hold down Operation Bagration, or Bagration, which was rather the sort of huge Soviet counter-offensive that more or less happened at the same time as the Normandy landings, a bit before actually, I think. And there we go, Panthers ready, 2 Volksgrenadier teams still ready. Could get some Knights Cross holders, or some Grenadiers, but no, he's getting a half-track. Sonderkraftfahrzeug. Looks like one has actually been equipped with a flamethrower, quite interesting. Not what you usually see, and a heroic charge right into him, machine gun fire. PA rounds and machine gun fire pelting the building, clearing out the MG42 team. Half-track has to be careful, and a Panther gets off a good shot, blowing apart Duffy himself.
Our forward supply lines are broken.
And as we turn to Ipokeunow, in fact, it's a mid-game analysis. Current situation was sort of 50-50. British troops holding most of the victory points. We are seeing a Cromwell command tank up. I imagine he might be going for a Firefly to basically deal with any Crown armor that might be appearing from Jerry. Sort of doing alright, but again he has to sort of stop blobbing. It's really only going to make it easier for the Stu-42 to really wreak havoc. I suppose also the Ostwind. If we were to sort of spread out these forces in slightly more 2 smaller forces with a lieutenant each, he might be able to do more damage, and of course he might also be able to take more territory away from the German commander, but sadly he does not seem quite interested in that. In comparison, Huitewillcomeforyou though might want to consider getting some Knights Cross, of course, with the half-tank and the 4th tier. He could of course be getting some Stukas or Fuss rockets and basically bombard the British commander. That could work. I would certainly also recommend perhaps getting some veterancy for his armor. Either way though, let's return to the fight. Not much to really analyze there. I mean, when your opponent is blobbing, I mean, most tactics or strategy basically go out the window. And looks like one lieutenant went down to the Panther. Cheeky Panther. Looks like one of these buildings will soon become a fortress as a Wehrmacht. Oh dear, quite a bit of damage again being sort of directed against the Volksgrenadiers inside. Ostwind moves up, Stu-42 also joining in, and no kills. Bit of wall saves most of them. They might take some losses as they're trying to retreat past this rather large Wehrmacht force. And a decoy artillery barrage. Ooh, sneaky that, Ipokeunow. Firefly on the way. Interesting enough, he has gone for commandos, but he hasn't used any. As that could otherwise have been perhaps a good move. Could have flanked about, done some damage, harassed, and laid down demo charges against the Hun. Instead it sort of ends up just again blobbing up, which again is not really the sort of way to really impress me. And the Wehrmacht strategy rather employed here is not the most usual one. Half-track moving up, and it has indeed been equipped with the Stukas or Fuss. Not entirely sure how those were sort of employed within a Wehrmacht unit though. So we can't get out the full details. But they certainly had some very heavy rockets. Interesting enough, Huitewillcomeforyou is not alerting his opponent to its presence. He is not firing away the rockets, which is a bit more unusual, I think. Usually, of course, you want to get out as many as possible and do as much damage as possible. But he's perhaps waiting to get another one to sort of get a full surprise out of this. Not completely daft, I suppose. Stu-42, oh, getting hammered though by a Firefly and the 17-pounder gun. Less good, less good. And the Panther as well. Oh, main gun destroyed on the Stu-42. Pack moving up to try and protect While the British are securing what they can, and these climbing up around Pouch, though that's less good, less good. Ostwind though makes it without any damage, which might allow it. No, instead it managed to hit a mine. Damaged engine. Oh, down to half health. And the sappers quickly moving, although it might have been an idea to wait for the French station to sort of button it down. Ostwind, in fact, close to going down. Then again, the sappers are getting torn to bits by the 37mm anti-aircraft gun mounted. And it does resort in a full retreat, still looking a bit grim there. And looks like we are finally seeing a barrage. Probably expecting when they're all right there. Yes, indeed. Retreating back to the headquarters command truck, which you know where it is. And looks like they are retreating back to the captain. That is something the British can do. Of course, they did so to basically avoid all of those nasty rockets from Jerry. Panther still holding out. Although it's taking quite a bit of damage from that Firefly. You have to be careful with those. Second one ready. Again, though, blobbing up. You have to be careful with that. Makes you a bit easier. And of course, also makes you an easier target for artillery back in your base when you are retreating. Which, as you just saw there, was quite the real threat. Now, retreating back to it once he's done there. No artillery, though, for Ipokeunow. That could possibly have helped him. He has decided against it, apparently. And another tank crew commander. Increases line of sight, which can always be useful, since the Firefly actually has a longer range than it has a longer line of sight, oddly enough. Which means you actually usually get the most out of the Firefly if you have something to spot for it. Though getting the tank crew commander does help. There weren't that many Fireflies, though. Usually you'd get sort of like one platoon would have 3 Shermans and then 1 Firefly. That was sort of the usual thing. And the Germans, I believe, captured at least a few. 1 perhaps more. I'm not entirely sure. There's not so many details on that. And the Cromwell command tank goes down. Casual clearing station down. It did manage to recover 1 infantry section, though. So hurrah for that. But Cromwell command tank is down, wrecked. 17-pounder gun also needed repairs. The sappers doesn't seem to be carrying, though. And another one going up a bit further behind. Tiger has arrived to augment the Panzer forces. While the Ostwind and Flame for the half tanks and down needed repairs. German Panzer forces pushing onwards. 17-pounder gun firing away. Does it use armor-piercing rounds? Could certainly look so. Panther taking heavy damage. Fireflies moving in. Main gun destroyed on the Panzerkampfwagen 5. And it is down. Oh dear. 17-pounder gun down as well. As to how units were equipped with Panthers, they usually would get 1 battalion fully equipped with Panthers and 1 equipped with Panzer IVs. Some cases they wouldn't get that, and there might be a mix. But Panthers usually were the rarer, although as this sort of war went on, Panthers actually got more common than Panzer IVs. Pack, though, in a lot of trouble. Sorted out. Stu 42 could also be lost. Yes, indeed. Heavy armor losses for Huitewillcomeforyou. No, a rocket barrage from the half-tack saves the day. And again, even got a Firefly, hurrah. Again, do be careful with blobbing up, and certainly the way Huitewillcomeforyou deals with it is certainly exemplary. And certainly how one would recommend you actually dealing with it. Though he certainly did take some armored losses there, a Panther and a Stu 42. Although that Firefly wasn't exactly cheap either.
Supply lines are broken. We have territory out of forward supply.
British commanders push back into their base. Pioneers moving out. Tiger could really do with some repairs, and looks like the Ostwind is ready. No Kampfkraft center either. clearly in this case Huitewillcomeforyou decided to not spend any resource on veterancy, just be able to get as many boots out on the ground to shoot up some Tommies, which is certainly a viable thing, although that's certainly always recommend at least veterancy 1 for your armor, as that really is one that can help a lot. And for example, getting veterancy 2 for your half-tracks wouldn't be a bad idea either, as that would actually increase the damage of the rockets fired. And German vehicles are generally the only ones who really get any damage bonuses with veterancy. I mean, it's the half-track and the armored car and and the pack, basically. Looks like another assault from Ipokeunow, and again looks like he's going for the blob configuration. And another lieutenant bit the dust. British charging ahead madly. 4 infantry sections with Bren guns. Does he button even once? No. And there we go. Half-tracks finding away. Rockets flying through the air. Pack moving up. British getting hammered, but they do not. Wait, there we go. They stop actually. And a Bren gun actually gets left behind. That was an absolute massacre. And again, why you want to be careful with blobbing up, in particular when you know your opponent has rocket artillery like the half-track, the Stukas of Fuss. So that can really do some nasty damage to infantry caught out in the open. I mean, it's gotten a bit rarer since the last patch. I mean, usually you'd get a lot of people, complaining about it, but now not so much. Now it's more the neighbour for that sort of taking to the fore. So that doesn't mean the half-track with the rocket mount is bad. It's just sort of expensive. There's the half-track, there's the sort of tier 4, and of course you need to pay the 150 or 175 munitions for the Stuka upgrade. And these Volksgrenadiers need to get out of there. Oh, why didn't you reinforce and heal them, Huit? Oh, that was tragic. But let us return. Only one Volksgrenadier team now. Huitewillcomeforyou quite low on infantry. Though quite extensively equipped with armoured half-tracks. British once more moving out. Repairing that headquarters command track. Another Firefly. That's always going to be of help. And getting veterancy. In fact, he's getting vehicle veterancy first. That is certainly the cheaper, and certainly also ensures that your half-tracks can actually fire more often. And of course, with veterancy 2, as I said, more damage. Ipokeunow does seem a bit desperate, sending out not fully reinforced teams to basically take as much territory as possible. Stop the drain of victory points. Firefly's moving up, could be catching that Tiger. Oh, the pack also setting up. Still no attempts at buttoning up.
We are losing ground.
And another infantry section bites the dust.
Our forward supply lines are broken.
Firefly's hammering away at that poor, unfortunate, completely helpless Tiger. Volksgrenadiers could still be moving up. In fact, they could be snatching a few Bren guns to rather violently augment their firepower. Will this lieutenant seize it? No, the lieutenant cares not for the Bren gun. Cares not for a bigger gun than that silly Sten gun. And a manpower blitz. Another Panther on the way. And more veterancy for the armor. Goodness gracious. There we go. Volksgrenadiers with a Bren gun leading the way. Firefly running straight into the pack. And artillery against this position. What does Huitewillcomeforyou do? He charges right into it. He cares not for artillery. In this case, it even turns out to be just decoy. So in that case, the decoy didn't really help.
Forward supply lines are broken.
Firefly almost done. Volksgrenadiers need to get out of there, and they do so.
They're losing territory.
More rockets pelting the ground. British infantry in this case dodging most of them, although the Fireflies took quite a bit of damage. Bren guns getting dropped left and right. The Tiger just killing veterancy free. Panther almost done, and there we go. In fact, Fireflies and die need repairs. So let's just speed this up a bit. Field support truck under fire. Over Blitz also under fire, although I think that's less intentional. Gathering up for one last defense, it looks like, by the armor command truck. Fireflies getting repaired as quickly as possible, while the field support truck takes one hell of a beating.
Supply lines are broken. We have territory cut off from supply.
Well, it looks like the headquarters command truck has sort of been forgotten. And there we go, Panther number 2 moving up. And the headquarters command truck is quite viciously exposed. Artillery fire on the pack. And in this case, this was actual live artillery, not just decoy. Some have suggested you can hear where one has artillery sounds, the other one hasn't. They both have artillery sounds. There's no difference really. The only thing you can sort of try and sort of guess is, does my opponent have munitions for it, or has he already used his stuff like that? There are no real indicators to say, well, this is going to be a decoy or not. Artillery firing A once more, preparing for an assault. Another headquarters command truck. British lines getting absolutely pelted. Another casualty station down. Will the Germans lead the assault? Apparently not. Well, let us speed this up a bit. And all a bit quiet.
We're losing a sector.
A bit quiet now. The Axis on the move, although leaving their west rather open. We're seeing 3 Fireflies out for Ipokeunow. Hoping that perhaps a thick quantity of Fireflies can save his day, although he needs to deal with that pack first before. And of course, Regiment 3 actually also increases the damage of the pack, although not by a huge amount. It's not certainly going to turn into a pack. I mean, Flak 88. Once more heavy damage. Pack cleared out. Pioneers could also be cleared out. German armor in the east, though. Not really there to react. Half-tanks could be in trouble. Or will they be? And let's speed this up again a bit more. And Blitzkrieger for Huitewillcomeforyou. Charging in with Ostwind. Blitzkrieg increases the rate of fire and movement of German armor. It also gives them crush. So for example, Ostwinds, which normally can't crush stuff like Barrage, can actually now. Firefly down. Infantry can sprint, and it also fires slightly faster. And vehicles can also fire fast, although they also note vehicles and armor actually take an accuracy penalty. Usually if you can get the Tigers just fire madly, that will make up for it more than easily. Tiger running into quite a bit of Firefly fire, but there's only 2 Fireflies left. And he might be getting another Blitzkrieg again, pushing the 12th to further daring ventures. And there we go. Firefly down. Sappers pelting the Veterancy 3 Panther, but of course Veterancy 3 does protect it against Piat rounds. Where's the rest? Half-tank moving up, more rockets. And another Blitzkrieg. Firefly in what you call a lot of trouble. Armor rushing towards, and there we go. Firefly down, kaputt, broke up, nicht mehr. This has been rather the disaster for the 7th Armoured. 19 kills and 3 armor kills for that one, and 3 kills and 1 armor kill for the Panther.
We are losing ground.
Let us speed this up these last few minutes. Not really a lot going on anymore. The last few gasps were from Ipokeunow as he's crushed into submission by the 12th SS Hitlerjugend. And there we go. What can we learn from this? I mean, in this case, this was one of those good cases of why you don't blob. I mean, really, again, do not blob. Even as a British, you think, well, it's going to be so. That's usually what I imagine. That's the real reason. I mean, some say, well, I'm forced to it. No, you're not. You're not forced into it. Not any more than the Wehrmacht, the Americans, or the Panzer Elite. You had 2 lieutenants, you could easily spread out those forces, but no, again, you're basically blobbing them out. You essentially also allowed your forces to much quickly be routed, and that's one of the major issues with blobbing. I mean, you can so quickly find your army being kicked off the field, and of course you have to sort of retake while your opponent does his best to sort of take the territory he kicked you out of. Of course, in this case, heavy artillery from the opponent. I mean, we saw a really rather different Wehrmacht strategy. He basically went an alright first tier, and then he went straight for the 4th tier. He went for the Panzer Command, he went for the Panzers, and he did a lot of damage. Plus he got in the half take with the rockets. That's usually what you don't see, but it still did quite a good job. It was quite efficient, and certainly was more than able to deal with Ipokeunow's blob. So there you go. Do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends, and if you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.